Hi, how are you tonight? I'm Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. Now, tonight is something different. I come to you typically every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock with a free crafting class, and all I ask that you do is consider becoming a customer of mine or maybe attending one of my classes. But this time I decided to do something a little bit different. I have done this series, the 12 Days of Christmas, I think since 2021. I've done it every year, and I've made lots and lots of projects, and those can all be found on this group where you're watching me, and that is Roberta's no, I'm sorry, I changed the name of it quite a while ago, 11 Lakes Stamper Creatives. 11 Lakes Stamper is the name of my business. And while I do this as a business, and it is my full-time job since retiring, I do just really love sharing crafting with people. It makes me happy to share it. It makes me happy to craft. It's very therapeutic. I hear lots of people saying, I used to craft and then I don't craft anymore, and I wish I did. I have all this stuff. Or I hear people say, I've always been interested in that, but I don't have anything, and I don't know how to do anything, and I'm not a talented person. So let me explain, first of all, that you don't have to be a talented person. I'm not sure I even consider myself a talented person when it comes to crafting. I've learned over the years, and if you watch any of my videos previously, you will know that I make lots of mistakes while I'm crafting. And what's kind of cool about that is that you get to learn from my mistakes so that with any luck you don't make the same mistakes. So for the next 12 days, excluding Christmas, I will be coming to you to show you some type of a basically small craft, with the exception of tonight, something small that you could make that would be a great gift for an office mate. If you work in an office where maybe there are, several people and you don't want to spend a lot of money, but you want to give everybody a little something, this is a great way to do that without spending much money, and it usually impresses people quite a lot if they're not a crafter themselves. It also is great for Secret Santa. It's great for teacher and school staff gifts, those types of things, but even for your own family. I make things that I put at the table every year at Thanksgiving and at Christmas. Just a little gift, and it usually has chocolate in it because, who doesn't like chocolate? Well, some people don't like chocolate, in which case you could put something else in. So anyway, that's the kind of thing I'll be showing you, is small gift items, gift boxes, gift packaging, things like that. And they're all pretty unique. Today I'm bringing you a kit, all right? And that's not typically what this is going to be about. Today and tomorrow I'm bringing you a kit that I do sell through Stampin' Up! And the reason I'm starting out with those is because should someone really want to buy one of these two kits, they would need to buy it pretty quickly to be sure to get it in time, not so much in time for Christmas, but in time to start working on it, let's say. So after that, it's just going to be simple things that you can make, and I'm not trying to sell anything. So tonight and tomorrow, I'm just showing you a kit. If you like it and you'd like to buy it, that's great. If you don't, that's fine. It might give you some ideas that you could use anyway. All right. So I will go ahead and turn the camera down and we'll get started. And I try to keep it down to an hour or less. With this particular kit that I'm showing you tonight, it's hard to tell because I've literally just opened it and I haven't done it myself. I wanted to kind of see how it went with someone who hadn't used it before, opening it for the first time. So let's see how that goes. Hang on one second. Okay. There's always an adjustment or two that need to be made. I try so hard to keep my fingers out of the way, but I'm not especially good at keeping my fingers out of the way. So like I said, I do come live on this channel, in this Facebook group, every single Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Well, there's always a couple of exceptions. If I'm traveling, I don't always come to you, and so on. There we go. I think that'll work. So this, like I said, is day 1 of the 12 Days of Christmas. And I have a quick calendar here. All right, so I will be coming live. Obviously, here I am today. And I didn't put today's date, so really that's not correct because I started today. So I'm coming to you today, and then I'm going to keep coming to you, I think, until December 1st or 2nd. I think I kind of maybe goofed up a little bit there, thinking that I wasn't starting until tomorrow, but here I am, because I'm normally here on Wednesdays anyway. So, see, there you go. You got to see my first mistake. So, this kit And excuse me, because whenever I don't drink enough water, I start to lose my voice, which is very frustrating. Okay, so first we have to figure out how to open the box. I did actually open this, I believe, last Wednesday, just to show people. And I brought it out and I said, no, it's not a pizza. Okay, had no trouble opening it. There we go. All right, so no, it's not a pizza. And all of our kits, and this is an unusually large kit because this is something very different. This is not one of our typical kits. They come packaged very nicely in a sturdy box like this, which is great to reuse. And they come packaged in plastic to protect them. And they're all very reasonably priced. Again, I don't want this series to be about selling things. I really just want it to be about sharing. But this particular kit I thought was kind of cool. So, excuse me, if you have a young person in your life who goes to college and lives in a college dorm, or in lots of cases in college towns, there are apartment complexes that are kind of dorm-like. They have their own apartments, but they're kind of dorm-like. And sometimes people, I remember when I was in college, 100 years ago, we would hang like a whiteboard. I think they had whiteboards back then. We would hang a board of some kind on our dorm door so that someone could leave a note and say that they had stopped by to see you. All right, so this is still in the package, and I haven't even told you what this is yet, but I'll get to it in a minute. It's not a picture frame. It is a magnetic board. Now, the only thing that I meant to check out, and I haven't, and I haven't even read all of the directions, so I don't know if it could double as a whiteboard or not. Usually things that are not meant to be whiteboards shouldn't be used as a whiteboard, but there is a variety of markers out there called vis-a-vis markers. I used to use those a lot in my teaching before we had whiteboards, and vis-a-vis markers wipe off with just water. So maybe they would work on this, but I would be somewhat concerned that they would stain. So anyway, here's the deal. Here's the reason why you probably wouldn't want to do that. And that is because, like I said, this is a magnetic board, and they provide you with some paper to put down as a backing. They give you 2 sheets of paper, kind of depending on your likes and your dislikes. They're pretty neutral. They're pretty inoffensive. All right, and they provide you with 2, and the idea would be that you put them on here. I think you could probably, you probably should slip it in from the back, just like you would slip a picture frame in. Or a picture in a frame, but I'm not going to do that just now, and I'll show you why, because I want you to see that you can change it. All right, so all of the kits that Stampin' Up! Has come with directions, and the directions are wonderful. They're mostly pictorial, okay, and if you've ever put together a piece of IKEA furniture, this isn't that. I think it's easier. If you've never done any paper crafting, then it could be a little bit challenging, to be very honest with you. There are no words, although somewhere around here you will notice that there are words in different languages, and that is because Stampin' Up! Is in, the United Kingdom, where obviously they speak English. Stampin' Up! Is in Australia, where they also speak English. Stampin' Up! Is in France and in French Canada, and they are in Canada as well, regular Canada. And they are in Germany, and they are in the Netherlands, I believe. They're kind of all over the place. The only market that they shut down a couple of years ago was the Japanese market, and that's because the Japanese market that they had, this is kind of a cute story, the people loved to get together and craft. They absolutely loved that, but they didn't really want to buy products. So for a company that sells products, that's not a great thing. So these things here that look like t-shirts, they're not, although they really are kind of cute, and they could be used as a template for some type of a t-shirt, but what they really are is something that you fold and you turn it into a pocket. How cute is that, right? So the directions show you how to do that. Now, I'm going to hold this up so that you can see that this has little lines on it. Can you see that? Every time I turn this light on, it gets glary. I don't think I like that light. I need to get a daylight bulb in there. So these lines are what we call score lines, and they are to let you know that this is something that you are going to bend on those lines. And you could bend in any direction depending on which you want it to be the outside and which you want it to be the inside. So even here, they're giving you a choice. So if you like the black check to go with this gray maybe because you're giving this to a young man who lives in a college dorm. The other thing I would say too is that I live right now, well, I live here in Newark in a house in Newark, New York, if you're from here. But I also do have a place in Florida that's like a condominium. It's not an over 55 community because I don't want to hang out with people over 55. I'm well over 55, but I like lots of young people in my life. But anyway, the buildings that we live in can sometimes feel a little bit dorm-like. So neighbors do stop by and leave Post-it notes on your door asking if you want to go someplace or do something, or they need to borrow something or whatever. So that's all I had to do to create that pocket, was I just folded it on those lines. And these tabs here, we typically, if you're a crafter, know are going to be our glue tabs. So they are going to be what put the whole thing together. So this is where I would take some glue. One of my favorite glues is the Tombow Mono liquid glue, but they don't give us that. But in the kit, they do give us these things, this stuff here, which is called tear and tape. All right, and it's called tear and tape because, well, it tears easily, and that's a good thing. That's not meant to be a bad thing. So in other words, you don't even need a pair of scissors to use this. So you would just take this tape, you'd find the end, it's double-sided tape, and you would stick it down to this little tab here, just being sure that you're not on the score line and that you're not super close to the edge. You put that on. All right, and actually I'm over the edge a little bit, and I'll show you why even that doesn't matter. And then you just like put your thumb down and you tear it. If you want to use scissors, you certainly can, but you don't have to. And when you're using this, if you ever do go over an edge, you just kind of take your thumb and fold it back in over itself, and it's fixed. Good to go. And then you just line up the pieces so that the folded areas or the edges are lined up nicely. So that's how quick and easy it is. And you probably don't even need to use a full strip of this. This stuff is very, very strong. And I'm guessing you're not going to be putting anything super heavy in here, just little notes or whatever. And, you know, to get onto that topic as well, there are just so many different things that you could put in here. Now, I'm kind of limiting myself color-wise by using this black and white side. Here we've got something that's got a little pink on it, and here we would have had the green. But once you've glued it down, you really don't have so many options anymore, because taking it apart again could get ugly, because the tape is so strong. If you wanted to put it together just holding like a little bit of Scotch tape around the corners, and then you could just slit it with an X-Acto knife, let's say, when you wanted to flip it to the other side, you could probably do that. But I don't know how many times you would want to change that. So this white box that comes with the kit is full of, it's full of little brass-colored magnetic clips. At first I didn't notice, but there is. Here's the magnet here. It's probably about maybe a half an inch round. And I have a lamp over here, and you can hear, I didn't even like put it on the lamp. I just sort of let go of it, and it sort of flew over to the lamp. So that tells you how strong that they really are. So if you wanted to not glue this little pocket down, you don't have to. You could put it on with the magnets, obviously. And then you could do the same thing with this one, and with this one, I think, well, I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'm going to stick with this theme, and I'll tell you why. Because these have the flowers, which are gray, and the background, which right now is gray but could change, maybe gray would be a good neutral color. For me, at least, I would think that might be a good neutral color. So I want to fold it this way, though, not this way. There we go. And I'm folding on lines that are already made for me, so there's no chance, okay, maybe I should say there's little chance of me messing up the folding. All right, so, and it would work just as easily with a strong glue like this Tombow Mono glue, where I could choose to, instead of using the tear and tape, I could just put a fairly thin line. You don't need a lot of this stuff. You don't want it goppy. You definitely don't want it goppy to the point where it is going to ooze out the edges when you put them together. All right, so what I'm going to do now, the other nice thing about the the glue is it gives you what I call wiggle room. So if I don't get this lined up properly the first time, it gives me some wiggle room. And then I can just take my finger. If you're a crafter and you have what's called a bone folder, you can take the bone folder and push in just to kind of attach it. And then I can go do the other side, and this glue stays wet for a little while. But once you press it down, either with your finger or with a bone folder, you gotta make sure it doesn't move because it does give you that wiggle room. Once you press it down, it's almost like this chemical reaction happens that attaches the glue to the paper, and it really sticks quite nicely. All right, so again, if I don't want to attach these permanently, and I don't think I want to, and I'll show you why in a minute. All right, now I've got 2 of these. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with those 2 things, but there are lots and lots of options. So they come with these little tags. The kit comes with tags. This one is pretty obviously either in German or in Dutch because I don't speak either one, so I can't say for sure, but it's one of those. But it also comes with these cute little things. Here's the same one in English. Yeah, I think that one was German. I think this one is Dutch. And then this one is French. So if you happen to know someone who speaks any of those languages and you wanted to gift this to them, you've got it to use. If not, you could certainly do other things with these. They simply punch out. All right, so they just poke out. And maybe I think the idea is that, oh, I take it back. They're stickers. They don't punch out. Some of our things do punch out, so they are stickers, okay? So on the front of one of these pockets, you could put something like love this life, grateful, happiness is the journey, just kind of a way of making this your own. You could also have a little section on here that says remember this. So maybe, I'm trying to think how I would want to do this, because since I'm putting it together, I guess I can say that this is now mine and that I will be using this. So I need to think about how I would do this if I really want to make this functional for myself. And I have to think about what I would really be using this for. So it also comes with cards. And the card could be just a note, but some of the cards have a calendar on the back. And it's totally blank, so you could fill in that calendar and you could have a monthly calendar here. If you didn't want to go to the trouble to fill in a calendar every month, you could buy one of these little tiny tear-off calendars. You can buy these on Etsy, probably on Amazon, and you could put that up here. And again, maybe you wouldn't want to glue it on here because you've got a choice of these other papers. But I thought, what if I even wanted to take that a step further? And what if I didn't like any of the papers that they gave me? Let me just pull these off for a minute. Oh, I was going to do that on the gray side, wasn't I? And then I didn't. Okay, see, I liked the pink side, but I really wanted to do the gray side. What if I had, let's say I'm putting this in my kitchen, and my kitchen is this color, kind of a, what's the word, turquoise color. I could put this. This is a piece of designer series paper from Stampin' Up, but if you have ever been a crafter, my guess is you have piles of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper at home. Maybe you're a guy and you just want to go pretty neutral and you kind of like wood tone, so maybe you're going to pull some of that out. At places like Michael's and Joann's, you can sometimes buy just single sheets of cardstock. Maybe it's Christmas time, and so I want to change the background to Christmas time. And another choice might be these candy canes. They personally make my eyes go wonky, the candy canes. Yeah, I don't even know if you can tell that they're candy canes. Maybe right there where that one light is hitting. And then on the back, there's just kind of a red design, which could be Christmassy or it could be whatever you want it to be. So you could keep changing this. If you have a month that in your family you have lots of birthdays in a certain month, maybe you could find some paper that has to do with that month. Or maybe you could just find seasonal paper, so winter, spring, fall. So you could do so much, anything with this board, and it's so convenient. All right, so you've got the possibility of, I feel like I'm going to want to tear that apart and change it when I'm done. You could put that calendar on there, or you could put one of these on there that you just tear off. If you don't want to glue it on, you could put a little magnet on the back and maybe put it that way. You can buy some pretty inexpensive magnets. I had some here, but at the moment I don't know where they are. Or you could use Velcro dots. I buy these on Amazon. They're very small and they're lightweight dots, so they probably won't rip your paper as long as you're careful with them. So you could put half on the back of your calendar and half on here. That's a possibility. So maybe you've got that. Maybe you want to put a post-it note holder or a post-it note up there that family members can write things on, appointments on, or whatnot. Maybe you want to put, these are also post-it, but maybe you want to put this up that's a little bit better for leaving a longer note. Maybe you want to do something with your family like, okay, it's Christmas time, and maybe you want to have a Christmas countdown like the numbers that I used here that I just printed out on my computer. And so maybe now you could have the note that says, it's just have the number 2 there. It's 2 days to Christmas. It's 10 days to Christmas. So you could use it as a kind of an advent calendar or just a Christmas countdown, maybe just to remind yourself how many shopping days you have left and that you'd better get moving. So you could do that. There's all kinds of things. This is a 3x3 envelope. Now I bought these and this one got kind of bent and squished. If you are a crafter and you happen to have what's called a envelope punch board in your crafting supplies, it's made by a company called We Are Memory Keepers, and they're still available. You can make your own envelopes actually any size you want. And maybe you're going to put that in here, and maybe you want family members to tuck their receipts in there for things that they've spent, or you want to tuck your receipts in there. You could use those for that as well, but you could use those for anything. I'm trying to think. I'd love to hear suggestions. So there's a bunch of these calendars, but they also have room on the back for writing. And then there's another calendar, but it also has this on the front for leaving a note. So it's your choice whether you want to use it as a calendar. I believe there are 2 of every one of these. This one could just be something that maybe gets labeled photos, and maybe you're going to use this to, on a regular basis, stick a fun photo on there. Or maybe it says shopping lists, and you're going to stick your shopping list on there. And there are even websites where you can print off free shopping lists that are kind of cute and fun. So that's another option for something that you could do. This one, let's see, this one is just the dots on one side. I'm not quite sure what you would use that for. And this looks like maybe a to-do list. So maybe children's chore list could go on this. You know, where you say to them, okay, today you need to rake the leaves, tomorrow you need to do whatever. You could put a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just put the letter. So that's another option. There's just so many things that I think you could do with this, including just using it as a magnet board to stick things on for your own memory, and, you know, forget even all the fancy stuff except the really nice clips, because they really are nice. You know, actually you could even put this calendar on with a clip and then just tear it off when the month is over. So that's a possibility. You could even possibly glue the calendar to the front of one of these, and then you're not taking up as much space. So you would just glue it on, and then when the next year comes, you just glue the new one on top of the old empty base when you've torn off all the pages. So that's another possibility. I think you're kind of getting the idea that you could do almost anything with this. I'm just thinking, would I bother putting one of these on to say shopping list, or maybe I would just use one of these. I don't have children in the house anymore to give them chores to do, and they didn't do very well at doing them even when they were here, to be honest with you. Here's another kind of a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm not exactly sure what you would use that for, but I'm sure you could come up with something that you would have a use for that. And then there are just kind of more of these list things. And then here's a pretty one. One of the kids could color that in and just put it on there. And speaking of coloring, there's always kids' artwork to be done. So if a kid really wanted a piece of artwork on something that looked like a frame, you could certainly temporarily take these off, maybe stick them on your refrigerator just to get them out of the way, and use a clip or 2 to put up the kids' artwork on there. Or pictures. You know, like I said, so many different things that you could do. Maybe you're just going to use this to put the post-it note holder in, and maybe you're going to use this to put the pad in. And, okay, the Post-it notepad is a little bit heavy for these, as strong as they are. So that's something to be aware of. This other one, maybe this Post-it note isn't as full because it's bigger. Yeah, it does slip a little bit, but it does slip. All right, so that's when I kind of get creative, and if I have more than one thing, and I'm afraid they're going to flop, then I just take another one, and I don't necessarily even attach it, but maybe I could put it underneath like that, and then that will keep that one from falling. And then if I wanted to, I could then, hang on, use two to hold this one on, but have this one sort of piggybacking on it. And they could be like that. And now they're not going anywhere. Yeah, they're not going anywhere now. So it took 3 magnets to do that, but that's not bad. And then, like I said, just so many different things that you can do with this. Pictures, Christmas countdown, a little envelope. And if you don't mind messing up the paper and getting new paper whenever you feel like it, you could glue some of these things down as well. It wouldn't matter. Okay? So, well, those are too wide to fit in there. But some type of even your own little notepad, or like I said, maybe you just want to save receipts. So this is kind of a cool thing. Oh, hold on one second. I left something on the printer. So if you have any questions about any of this, hey Kathy, how are you? If you have any questions about any of this, if you've got someone going off to college, I think it's a great gift. It's $25. I don't think that's a lot. Or even if you have a young person who could probably maybe use some organization in their life and they're getting their first apartment, something like this would be really, really helpful. Take my word for it. And then again, it could also be very helpful for some older person in your life who maybe needs reminders of things. You know, a reminder that they have a doctor's appointment, or a reminder of some family member who has a birthday coming up and they might want to call them or send a card or whatever. So any of those possibilities exist. All right, and just like I said, tonight and tomorrow I'm showing you kits just because I wanted to get those shown to you so that if anybody's interested in purchasing one of these, they can get it in a timely fashion. Typically, Stampin' Up! Packages arrive within 2 weeks from when you've ordered them. However, we're still experiencing some of those shipping delays and fulfillment delays and so on. Stampin' Up! Makes a lot of their own products right here in the U.S., but some things are imported. And so that can be an issue. All right, so just like some little examples of what you can do with this kit. And right here is the information for you should you want to order it. It's called the Celebrate Today Magnet Board Kit, and the item number is there. It's $25, and you would shop by going to www.rcolosino.stampinup.net, and that will bring you directly to my personal Stampin' Up! Website. I should also tell you that today, when I searched for this kit, because I was looking for some pictures of what other people might have done with it, two different somebodies actually, are selling these kits on eBay for $42 a piece. Now, first of all, that's illegal, just so you know, because when Stampin' Up! Has products that are still current, nobody's allowed to sell them except demonstrators through Stampin' Up! So that's illegal. And charging $42 for something that only costs $25 if you buy it from the company itself is kind of what my father used to call highway robbery. It's highway robbery, he used to say. And I would have to agree with him that it's highway robbery. So I'm going to play around with this kit a little bit more, and I'll post some different pictures showing some different scenarios of how I used it. I think it's really cool. I have a spot in my craft room where I need something like this. I'm at the stage of my life where, while I don't think I have dementia, there are days when I feel like I'm so busy that I'm not thinking straight. That seems to happen a lot. So I'm just cleaning up a few things. Now, what I did want to show you really quickly, because really I've been really good about time here, is that the type of gifts that I'm going to be making, or the type of gift packaging that I'm going to be making, is stuff that I have been making for years. And I'd like to show you, because I did say, if you're not a Christmas person, this doesn't have to be about Christmas. All right, so I have boxes and bags and totes full of this stuff, because whenever I have an event, I have this stuff ready to go. These are samples, so people can say, oh, I'd like to make one of those, or, oh, I'd like to make one of those. So, I'm trying to find some other stuff that's not necessarily Christmas. Obviously that isn't. But none of this stuff has to be Christmas, all right? Here we go. This is just a cute gift box. This is a little thing. It sort of reminds me of those sour cream pouches that you used to get at the, like if you went to the bagel shop and got a bagel. This is a little tiny box that I made, and then I put a few candies in that. This is the kind of thing that might be sitting at the Thanksgiving table. I don't actually host Thanksgiving. Cousins of mine do. Here is an ornament. Last year I think I showed several ornaments that I made. I'm looking because I got all this stuff around, but it's like literally surrounding me everywhere. This is a much larger gift box for someone who might want to make a gift box because they're giving someone a scarf or a pair of gloves or something like that. This gift box here, which again could be happy birthday just as easily as Christmas, this gift box actually holds a Hershey's candy bar. One whole Hershey's candy bar. This has another part to it, but I don't see it at the moment. It has what's called a belly band that goes around it. This you could put anything in, but when I made this, I made it to be a get well better kit, get well soon kit, good grief. And I had like one of those little packets of tissues in it. I had some of that emergency powder that you can put in water and mix up, and it's supposed to, help your immunity. I had some little candy in there, some throat lozenges. I was surprised at how much it held. And then there's a band here somewhere that goes around it that holds the whole thing closed, and it said get well soon. This is a Tic Tac box. So this was one year at Thanksgiving, and the top does come off. There we go. And it perfectly holds one box of regular size Tic Tacs, not the Tic Tac minis, but just the typical Tic Tacs. And this is all made from paper, all made from cardstock and things that I stamped. And you can make those too. And you can make similar things even if you don't have stamps. No doubt about it. Let's see, what else have I got here? Oh, so here's another example of this one. But this one was a Merry Christmas, not a Get Well Soon thing. So again, the box has a band that holds it closed and then has lots of room inside. And it's all just made of paper. And I can't even begin to tell you how sturdy this is. All right, so please don't think this is something that's going to fall apart. It absolutely is not. I've had some of these things kicking around in these bags, and I'm not really, to tell you the truth, I'm not protecting them as well as I could. And I pull them in and out of the bag all the time to show people, and they are holding up extremely well. So this is very good cardstock that I use, and things are not going to fall apart. Oh my gosh, this one is so stinking cute. This one is a backpack, okay, but with different designing. It could be a purse. So it's a backpack, and it has a Velcro closure. And you open it up, and you could put candy in there, you could put a gift card in there, you could put money in there, whatever you like. It's just a really cute way of presenting a gift to someone. And none of these things are hard to make. They truly are not, I promise. This thing here holds tea bags, 2 tea bags. So again, cheap gift. The paper doesn't cost much of anything. You buy a box of tea, and if you have someone in your office, or if you happen to know that your child's teacher is a teetotaler, then maybe something like this and a coffee mug or a tea mug, whatever you want to call it. This box actually holds greeting cards. So if you are a card maker and you make your own cards, you can probably fit about 6 cards and envelopes in this box and then decorate it and give it to someone. Like giving someone thank you cards. I know very often people say they never have thank you cards at home. There's another version of the same thing, but in different colors. And I could go on and on. And the reason I'm showing these to you is because all of these things, I keep thinking I'm going to find one that has something in it, because at one time they almost all had chocolate in them. This one holds a chapstick. So if you're in this group, Roberta's, nope, 11 Lake Stamper Creatives, if you're in this group, and you hashtag 12 Days of Christmas, you can see all of the things that I've made for the last I don't know how many years. This one is a gift card holder. I don't want to untie it, so I'm just going to go like this. It's held together with Velcro, and it opens up like this, but it will hold any normal sized gift card or even like one of those, well, I guess they're also considered a gift card. The debit type cards is what I'm trying to say. Hey, Barb, how are you? It'll hold one of those. And normally I have multiples of those, like just sitting around on my desk waiting to be used, but I don't see one right now, but you get the idea. And again, just a pretty way to give someone a gift card, much nicer than just kind of throwing a gift card at them. And gosh, there are so many more things. And then, let's see. Hang on. Okay, this one I'm using to hold a bunch of paper, but kind of like an Easter basket, but it also is a great favor at a baby shower, wedding shower, that type of thing. You can fill it with candy, and it takes like literally 3 minutes to make it. I'm not kidding. These here I put on the table at Easter one time, and I picked up a few that were left over and took them home. Most people do take them home. And this takes about 3 minutes to make as well. Little tiny thing, and I think I filled it with M&Ms or something. I don't even remember. But they would also be just kind of a fun thing at a baby shower or a bridal shower. So if you've got any of those kinds of things coming up, don't just think Christmas, because anything I make here tonight could also translate to Easter, could translate to birthday, or anything. Baskets. Here's a basket that is made with all designer series paper, and it's quite sturdy and it holds quite a lot. You'd be surprised. And I made them in multiple different sizes so people could see. So here's a much smaller one. You know, and they're all kind of bent up because they get used and they get kicked around a lot, I'll be honest. Here's a medium-sized one, so we have like Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear here. And then inside those are gift tags, and I've also done a series on gift tags. To and from. This one actually opens up, I think. Yeah, this one opens up. Something like this, which looks like a gift tag, but could also be turned into a bookmark. Again, just kind of wanted you to get the idea that the sky's the limit, and just because many of these things are Christmas related doesn't mean that this is all about Christmas, because you could use them for Hanukkah, you could use them for birthdays, you could use them for almost anything that you liked. All right? So, again, if you have any questions, let me know, and I will be with you again tomorrow night and every night up until Thanksgiving, and then a break for Thanksgiving, and then we'll come back until we've done 12 days. So tomorrow night is another kit, but it's a very different kind of kit. It's a Christmas countdown kit that could be used as an Advent thing, but it could also be used as gift tags if you so chose. All right, so I will see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Thank you for joining.